Hi, Regina. Um, Hi, Miss Rebel Jewel. Hi, Regina. Sorry, well, ladies, we're having a bit of a delay, but we're apologies for the lateness. We tried to get on earlier, but we're just having a few technical problems. Um, Hi, Elsa. I hope you can hear us. Um, oh, hi, Kheisha. Can you
Hi.
hear me? Hi. You can hear me.
Yes.
Oh, perfect view.
And the
Obviously,
feedback's gone.
yeah. Here we go. And there may be a 10-second delay.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah. So it looks like I think everyone can get in because we've got Miss Rebel Jewel, we've got Regina, and we've got Elsa on. Hi, ladies.
Oh my gosh. You know what? It never fails with us guys. We always have some kind of technical difficulties. Me and Sophie. Like every time.
I know it's crazy, isn't it?
I mean, it is what it is.
Yeah, by hook or by crook. We always get there in the end.
We always do. We always do.
Yeah.
So I won't keep anybody any longer. Thank you guys so much for showing up, for your time. I love and appreciate you. My name is Kheisha. I'm the owner of A Way of Life. I am a career and business coach using astrology. Sophie and I are always talking on the background. They have banned us from talking to each other on IG. So we now have a WhatsApp account, we're always going back and forth, checking in on each other. And I love Sophie's warm heart. Like, I miss her when I don't hear from her.
Oh, thank
So
you.
she checked in on me after the new year, and we were casually just having a conversation about how we were doing. And this is how we came about the idea to do this live. Just the stories, the things that people are going through and experiencing during this time have been very interesting, to say the least. And so we thought we'd get on here, share our experiences, and allow everybody else to share their experiences, because I can only imagine. Like, there's too much going on for there not to be anything going on, and it doesn't necessarily have to be bad. Some people have had
Mm.
major come ups at this time, and we want to hear about it. Just a casual conversation about how the lockdown's treating you is all this is. So, thanks again for your time. If you could drop your city in the comment section, I'd love to see
Yeah.
where everybody's from. And then I will hand it over to Miss Sophie to introduce herself.
Oh, perfect. And I'd just like to say hi to Lee and Regina as well. And lovely to see everyone on the call. Oh, so Lee's from Albuquerque, New Mexico.
Wow.
That's
Oh, I know
fantastic.
her. That's
Yeah.
yeah, right?
It's so cool. I love that.
Oh, she put
Thank
hearts.
you, Lee.
Mm.
So, how do I start, Keisha? Should I just go in and introduce myself?
Yeah, just give an introduction. Talk a little bit about what you do. It's promotion.
Yeah, definitely. So, I don't know if everyone can hear a bit of an echo, but I apologize. I'm still trying to sort everything. We're trying to sort everything out technically wise. But my name is Sophie Davis, as you can see on my screen, and I'm 34 years of age, and I do a mix of things. So I do work full time. I work in the highways industry or engineering industry, whatever you like to call it. And also, not only doing that, I've always had a thing for doing extra things because my family, all of us have got our hands in different pots. So I actually do multi-level marketing, and where I kind of specialize in essential bills, like just basically saving on things that we use on a day-by-day basis. And also I do vlogging. I do hair vlogging. So I've had gone through a natural hair kind of movement myself personally, but it's something where I thought, you know what, I don't hear much about natural hair. There's so much out there, of course, but in particular in some of the groups I'm in, I don't hear it being spoken about in general, and that's something where we do pour a copious amount of money into the beauty industry as women in general. So I was like, I wanted to oh, my twins just gone, hey Simone. So hi. Yeah, so it was something where I was like, oh, I really want to actually do something. And Simone will know, actually, I actually worked in a hair salon and a natural hair salon, and that was something where it was all about the wellness. It was all about just pampering yourself. So I come from that background where it was like I've always been interested in wellness, health, in general. I love to work out and things like that. So that's a bit about me, and I just like to do a mix of things.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's important. I think we're learning that even more now than ever too. That you gotta
Mm.
kind of mix it up, or that's the entrepreneur's
Mhm.
world.
Yes.
You get to
Oh,
you get
yeah.
to work part time, have your side business, and everything else.
Mhm. Totally. And yeah, that's the beauty of it, because it's like, for me, it was like lockdown has been interesting. I'm not going to lie and say that it's been perfect, but I must say, like, it's been nearly a year, and I feel like it's only been a few months or maybe a few weeks. It doesn't feel like it's been as long as it has been. And why? Because I'm kind of keeping myself purposely preoccupied, um, in just doing extra things in general. Because I think if I didn't, I know a lot of people find it difficult.
Yeah,
I think if I didn't, then I would be asleep for most of the day. I love my naps. And I'm quite open as well, because I'm a part of a few groups as well. We speak openly about women's health. I do have fibroids, so that's something where it slows your energies down
yeah,
quite a lot. So that was something where I needed something that was just gonna an extra activities to keep me going.
yeah, yeah. No, I learned that a major lesson about that. Actually, I'm having a hard time with it because
Yeah,
I'm a double air sign, so I'm like, I just want to go. I just want to do stuff. I just want to get stuff.
yeah,
And the start of this whole entrepreneur thing and really taking it seriously, I burnt myself out 3 times this year. And
yeah,
I was working full time when I originally started on this journey. I had to cut back and start doing part time because I was just like, I can't anymore. My brain literally, like, I would go through these moments where I get super sick and I would sleep
mhm,
for like days. And it was horrible. I shouldn't be laughing about it. It's actually really not funny. But
mm,
I knew that I had to get the foundational pieces of the business in order for it to get to a point where it can run kind of sort of on its own. You know what I mean? And
yeah,
I took that sacrifice. I did what I needed to do, but I'm getting better now. I'm not working as much, and I have a system, a structure set. And I'm also learning what to take in and what not to. Like, I am an information junkie. I just like hearing stuff. I mean, it's ridiculous. So I had to like cut down. I was like, okay. What's important? What's going to help me on this journey? Why am I listening? I really had to like have this conversation with myself to cut down on my information that I'm allowing in. And it wasn't fun for me,
Wow.
But the end of the year in December, I went back to work. We had the company that I was working for actually went out of business, and my boss was lucky enough to get everybody on the team into another company. So we did a merge.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my God. This has been, you know what? It's not even COVID. COVID's not the bigger issue here. We're working with a bunch of different personalities. And then COVID on top of it, it was just painstakingly overwhelming. There were a lot of moving parts that we kind of had to figure out how we were going to merge together. And then everybody broke out with COVID at the office. And the lack of care and sympathy they had for the employees I'm disgusted. Like,
wow.
At this point, I'm so very uninterested in continuing my work there. I have to set up a system now to even do more outside things to start to bring in that additional income. And on top of that, I'm a single mom, and I have my 4-year-old who is at home living his whole best life. I'm pretty sure in his mind this was the best time ever. But he gets to spend time with mommy, which when you're working 9 to 5, that's not the case. And but I'm really worried about his knowledge and his education. Like right now, we're at a point where we're just watching a bunch of TV shows, and I can do the traditional educational shows. However, my son knows how to work the remote. So I'll come back in and be like, I didn't put that on the TV. He's like, no, I like this show. Oh,
yeah. Oh, wow. Oh. So that's like so much to contend with. Like, it's the whole, you have to kind of shift to being working throughout the COVID. And then on top of it, having to make sure you're protecting your children and making sure that you're being the teacher at the same time.
Right. Yeah. It's actually impossible. It's not working at all. I had to break down and get a nanny, an in-home nanny, someone who actually knows how to educate children, and just figure it out. So my sister actually, I posted something about this too. She's starting her own daycare. She's working on it. Yeah. So my sisters are in the field of daycare. They specialize with kids who have mental health challenges. But they run the gambit. And my sister started her own daycare so that she can do things remotely. So she has a curriculum for single moms, parents, households who are interested in educating their children from home and not having to send them out to daycare. And she has like fun activities set up, but she also has is in the process of hiring people like nannies. I think the reason why I'm using nannies is because that's the website that I use. Typically, a lot of those nannies are in school for childcare. This is a way for them to get extra income. And they're on this website where they can kind of advertise what they do, and you can hire them for a certain amount of money. And they'll either come to your house or they're just doing drop-offs and pickups, a whole bunch of different services they have. So my sister's doing the same thing, starting her own company, doing that, and she's hiring people now to do in-home care. And with the
Mhm.
DPS population, she has a curriculum which I think is very crucial. I know a lot of people who have children with disabilities, and they're having a hard time with this. Like, it's been
Mm.
very, very interesting, to say the least. Just being a career coach in general, a lot of people are not in the position to even search for jobs because they don't have the additional help at home.
Hmm. Yeah, and how do you think? And can I just say hi to Sweet So Vibes? And Lee says hi, and Lee says yes, kids and pets love COVID lockdown, isn't it? True. It's so interesting because it's like people can there's that freedom to it's so strange the rules. I guess the rules are different in different countries because it's like the rules here in the UK are different from the rules that you guys have, but it's in order to, I don't know how it works for you guys, it may be the same in the UK, but I know these days before you could qualify, you could easily say, you know what, I'll apply for a job as a nanny or
Yep.
something, and you would, as long as you showed your CV to that person who was looking, who was like, I'm looking for a nanny, they'll put an ad out. But I'm not a parent yet, so I don't know the whole process of it. But I know that things are a lot more stringent. That especially during lockdown, like you have to actually be qualified. So
Yes.
it's like, can
Yes.
you imagine you're up against this wave where you're like, you want to search for a job and you say, oh, you know what, I would like to do childcare as something that's an additional, but then you're up against actually employment, people coming out of employment through
Yeah.
childcare even, and then there's that, it's like struggling to find that right person, and also with the rules and the regulations that they, even what they have here, to
Yes.
everything changes so much. It's like even with the numbers, and when it comes to the COVID, it's like the variant changes, the rules change, and then it must be so difficult to know what to do next as a parent. And I don't think even here in the UK, I don't know if it's the same in America, but we got family in the US. I don't think the information is as transparent from the government.
Yes.
Yes. It's like, what are the actual rules? They're not as transparent. They are at the moment for us. It's just like, well, don't go anywhere. But it's happening. But it's just having a knock-on effect on the school system. They're kind of saying, well, the schools are going to go back after the February half term.
Interesting.
People are still scared. There's still that thing of that where, you know what, do you send your children back to school?
Right.
There's some of the ladies in the chat if they'd like to put down what their thoughts are on that, but it is
Yes.
still that fear of what do I do? And then people that want to apply for jobs that may be out of work in that childcare field.
Yeah. So my sister works in an actual school with school age. Um,
Yeah.
and the other one does
Hmm.
daycare. So I get both of them, and my sisters are telling me, oh my God, she sends me these things in my DM that show how they're justifying having um, the ventilation systems in the schools are so old. So no, I can't make this up. They have fans in their windows, and they're
Ooh.
justifying this as COVID okay. Like, no, they need
Mm.
to like revamp that whole system. It's hard. Like, they're
Wow.
scared. but they are still at work. Like it's insane.
So what is it like? Normal fans? Is
Yes,
it
like a
just
regular window fan. That's
wow? That's insane. And this is the thing: the ventilation is the key part because you're expelling germs.
yes.
You know,
Yes, I
so
was
that's
shocked when
pretty
I seen. I
bad.
didn't think it was real. I was like, "Wait a minute! Did you take this picture or did somebody send it to you? Did you see this with your own eyes?"
And is that in just is that in some schools in some states? Because I'm sure I can imagine aircon systems, not in schools. And
Yeah, my sister said, "No, this is my classroom." She's like,
wow,
She was just telling me the picture came from one of her other teachers because when you work with the mentally challenged, you have more than one teacher in a classroom. You have to. It's mandatory.
yeah,
She was just
right.
showing me like, look at how stressed out everybody is. Like they are not managing this
Mm.
well, and they're qualifying this as legal. It's not like they
It's
should not
not,
be doing.
not at all. And this is another thing with the schools. This is where they, I don't know, again, if it's the same in the US, where they had to close the schools down. It was a choice between, first, there was a choice between the pubs and the schools, then it
Oh
ended up
wow!
being both. The reason being is the schools, even though a lot of children will not have they will not have the COVID in general, but they carry the actual. I don't mean all of them, but some children do carry it in, but they won't get the symptoms that
Symptoms,
adults will. So
yes.
this is what was happening because I've got a few friends who were like, Sophie, we got it in our household. And I'm like,
No.
yeah, yeah. And they got children and so they were like, well, I've been at home, so there's only one way that is coming from, and it's coming from the schools. And then
Yeah.
we've got a younger brother who's in college, and yeah, a lot of the children have been said that their families have had it or whatever.
Wow.
It is mostly spread through the schools, and
Wow.
that we do have aircon. So I've from what I believe is that schools do get inspected on a regular basis in the UK. I don't know. Again, I don't know how it's working with a lockdown. It's not like the government haven't been able to prepare for this, but
Right.
they have to inspect the schools to make sure they're meeting certain safety requirements. Of course, education wise, the children have to make sure the teachers have to make sure they're performing at a certain rate, of
Yeah.
course, because if you're failing the children, then there's a problem. So same with the safety, there's always safety tests in schools, and I think that is the same. But you can't tell really young children to say, you know what, you've got a social distance. That's a
Right.
even teenage kids. Our brother's 17, and he says the children, before our latest lockdown, they were not doing any kind of social distancing. So then there must be that panic as a parent to be like, well, I can't monitor my child in school, and then you have to work on top, or you just have that fear in
Yeah.
like I don't know you
I
can how you contend with that. And
They make you get a tester for the temperature when you do the
mm,
in-home care. So the sites are pretty set. That everybody else business wise is doing their job except the government. By the way, I just want to make that very clear.
mm,
Everybody else has their COVID regulations up. They're doing what they're supposed to do. You look at the government and they're like, yeah, no, we still want you out. Go to work. It's a normal
mm,
day. We're not shutting down. I think the most we had was a curfew, if I'm understanding it correctly. outside of that,
Yeah.
um,
And and the thing is with that is the curfew doesn't suppress anything. There must be more stringent measures put in place. But I think there is this like, oh, we got to keep the economy running. They have to keep the economy running, otherwise they're gonna, there is going to be a detrimental effect.
yeah,
But you can't. Are you going to do it at the cost of the people?
yeah,
You know?
apparently. That's exactly what they've been doing. I mean, my boss, every
Yeah.
time we come up with a complaint, my boss is sitting there like, he tells us to our face, he's like, the more restrictions you put up, the less business we're going to get. And we're all
Wow.
looking at him like, I'm sorry, what?
And they've had an outbreak in your
And we've had an
workplace.
outbreak. Yeah.
Wow. Where sees the contrast in my job, I do work from home, and our employers or our bosses, they will not put us in that position. Be me and you are both frontline service.
Yeah.
They will not put us in that risk. I think, again, because I know we're discussing it, I think due to there being legal implications. Like you can easily say in the UK, everything there's an ombudsman or something, some kind of, you can take someone to a court easily, even for malpractice, for so yeah, it's very easy to do. Not that I've done it, of course, but you can easily say, well, you're putting me in a very vulnerable position. You can either say, look, I'm not coming in, or you can go down a legal route. And that's something that I'd actually watched on. I'm not just making that up. It's something that I've actually watched myself personally, especially when it comes to our furlough system. So I don't know if yours is called the same, but with the furlough system, it's very like, okay, well, if one employee, so like if you move job as an example, prior to the lockdown of last year, your employers, your previous employers, should pay you now that you're in lockdown. But there's so many legal practicalities involved in it all, and you know. So I think we're a few minutes behind on our thing, but it should delay. But shall I just read out what everyone's saying? So Lee says, hi to Honestly Vegan. Lee says, hi. So Lee says, we are schooling remotely for the remainder of the school year. Hope to be back in August. Wow. And Simone says, August, that's very long. That's crazy. Can you imagine? That's practically, you're practically eating into another year.
Yeah.
And I don't know how it's working with you guys, but I know I like, even I just before we started our stream, news pops up saying that our Prime Minister, they've rolled out about quarter of the vaccines for 80-year-olds, but it still doesn't mean we're out of the woodworks. There's a new variant in the COVID, and it's something that I don't think that, because there was a lot of conspiracy theory, this disease does very much exist, because if it didn't, we wouldn't be here in this position right now. If it didn't exist, then we wouldn't be at home. We wouldn't be worrying about, your own workplace. They had it as well. So it's like, there wouldn't be this if it didn't exist. I just want to say that and make that clear. But with the new variant, it's evolving so much
Yeah. They said
That
there's
is a
supposed
fact.
to be a second strand coming out.
Yeah, and this is the thing. That's gonna because, I mean, I've seen a lot of flouting of the rules. I've seen too many of it personally, but I
Yeah.
think because the government, there's only so. I mean, I do commend them for what they're doing,
Right.
but I can't watch everyone. They
Right.
really can't watch everyone making sure they're doing what they need to be doing. But I think there should have been things, and I can only say again for both our governmental powers that there should have been something from both the UK and the US to be like, no, we're going to put our thumbs down. We're going to literally um, crack the whip because there's other countries where, including China, even the Caribbean, they don't actually have the numbers that we do anymore because they were like, no, we put strict curfews in place. We're not opening certain shops, no entertainment. I mean, they did not have bars and pubs or clubs open, but that is the difference of the UK and the US. We both had bars, people being able to, being able to be entertained, and it's like we're not here for the entertainment, we're here to actually get through. So now that it's January 21, we're facing another year of lockdown
Yep.
because those strict rules weren't put in place.
Wow. Wow. And that's very. I'm trying to measure it in my head. Like that's a very logical way of thinking of that. I feel like it's harder for me to make that judgment because we're still open. The only thing that they've done is, there's only 25% of people that can be in. You got to be 6 feet apart, and it's like it's almost like I think I said this before. Like I think they want us to get sick. Like I understand that the system
Mm,
has to run. You know what I mean? I
yeah.
do. But I think something that you said that is so important that I don't think we're taking into consideration is that you need to shut it down to prevent it from growing. Like, wouldn't that be the
Mm,
first? You know what I mean? I don't think
yeah.
we've done that succinctly yet.
No, no, and it was working in the beginning. So Lee says that's what I miss the most, going dancing in the clubs. You know what I do? I do miss my dancing. I do miss the going out, but definitely because it's
I
nice to
do.
have that social aspect and stuff like that. And that again, that forms a part of the well-being in general, right?
Yeah.
Um, but I know that with when it was the first lockdown of it's March now, right? And last year, March, yeah. So everything was going to a T. Everything was working. Like even if you'd go to the post office, like you had to keep 10 foot apart.
Yeah.
You had to keep that 2 meters. People were more conscious where I think with the reminders, even the advertising, things like that. We had the campaign in the UK saying "Save the NHS." That has died down a lot. So the less people are reminded of those "Save the NHS," our health system, or in general, keep your 2 meters, and people do forget. You
Yeah.
have to remind people all the time that this is you must stick to those rules. So now
Right.
what has happened, because there was that kind of cooling period where the weather was getting better.
Right. That's
Yeah,
what it was that
yeah,
got us off guard.
yeah.
The weather.
It's that I don't know if it's the weather in general, but because people kind of think, oh well, flu season is out, we
Yeah.
can be out.
Yeah.
Then maybe in the sense that the government thought, oh well, we don't need to be as strict because the numbers are
Going down. Yeah.
falling, and then winter hits, and then it's like, well, what do we do now? What do we do now? They should, I believe, the both governments should have prepared for the winter time. We know school
Right.
season. We know people get ill in general during that time. So it's something that could have been like planned in. I know our government, even when it came to Christmas, they were like, shall we, shouldn't we don't know what to do. So in general, it ended up being that people got disappointed 2 days before Christmas because Boris had to put out a statement saying I'm cancelling Christmas. It's like you shouldn't have allowed it to get to that point, and then that messes up with people's well-being because they're kind of anticipating seeing their families and stuff like that because people haven't been able to see anyone, and then that can be like have a detrimental effect on
Yeah.
your health in general. Like it was a very strange time.
Yeah.
So I don't know what you think in general of when it even comes to just the like from the working aspect and then not being able to see your family, and how have you found that in general?
Well, it was a week before Christmas that everybody in my office broke out with COVID. Literally, I
Oh,
think that Tuesday. Yep. And that
geez.
was my first week back to work the week prior to that. So I'm like, well, I'm not going anywhere. Of course, I had plans with my family. I have a 4-year-old,
Yeah.
so my sisters come here quite frequently to pick up my son to help me out on the weekends when they're not working. And
Mm-hmm.
I greatly appreciate them for that. They're like my saviors. I don't know what I'd do without them, you know.
Wow.
And we was gonna watch Wonder Woman. That was a big thing for Christmas, right? Wonder Woman was coming
Oh,
out. We was gonna get the
oh,
movie, watch it as a family. The kids were gonna play. We'd eat and have
oh.
fun. And then that Tuesday, I had to call them and tell them, so that's not gonna happen.
Oh,
Because we had been exposed, we didn't know, and I wasn't going to take that chance, like I wasn't going to say,
mm,
what I mean. And
like come round. Our
right.
workplace has it. That's scary.
Yeah, and my sisters
That's,
are already super freaked out.
wow. And you know what it is as well. It's like it plays on your anxiety because
Oh
it's
yeah.
like this whole kind of symptoms, 14 days of symptoms. If you
Right.
don't see symptoms, and is it 14 days you don't start seeing anything until then? That
Right.
plays on the mindset so much. It's such a
Yeah.
scary thing because you wonder, you're kind of counting the day by day. What am I going to experience today? Because I know
Yes.
from last year, I know you said, I'll let you tell your story anyway, but I know I had something last year, March, and I was every day for 14 days. I was like, what's gonna be today? What's gonna happen today? And it was scary, and it
Yeah.
just puts you on edge. And then I can only imagine for you as a parent how it must feel to actually be like the strong one, to be like, no, I've got to be strong for my children.
No, are you
So
kidding me? I was down for 3 whole days, Sophie.
wow.
My son, whatever my son could reach in the kitchen was what he got. 3 days. He's like, Mom, I'm hungry. I'm like, okay, we're gonna get
Wow.
some. It was horrible. And it's not
Oh
like somebody's gonna come to your beck and call to help you because
yeah.
everybody's afraid to get it, and you don't want to give it to anybody anyways. And my son
Yeah.
had no symptoms, by the way. He was living his whole best life, but I'm pretty sure he had it. It just doesn't make any sense. So I
Wow.
feel like kids, maybe their systems are more resilient, so it shows up
They are.
differently. I
Mm-hmm.
don't know. I'm not a doctor, but he was living his whole best life. Like coming in
Wow.
here, jumping on the bed. He's like, "Mom, you're still sleeping." Like, I'm
Get
actually dying, but it's
up.
okay. You know,
Oh,
uh,
that's just that must have been tough.
it was. And then I had to
Mm.
think. we had been out and about that whole week. And my son's in
Mm-hmm.
daycare. I'm like, this is great. I'm like, there's other children in that house and they have families. And it was
Yeah.
just, that was the anxiety for me. And then they wanted you to go out and get tested. And I'm like, so I got to get in somebody's car. I don't drive.
Yeah. Oh.
Exactly. So I'm like, already, if I've done infected about 7 people on this trip.
Yeah, this is the thing. It's like it's so hilarious because it's like it's in in London, it's kind of easier to walk here and there and everywhere. So I know it's not as easy to do that in certain areas.
No.
But if you need to like go somewhere, you'll be like, right, you walk as far as you can go. But if you can't walk to that particular place, you're gonna have to get a cab. You're gonna have to get transport, and there's no there's no kind of there is a rule in place, but there's not that enforcement in place, or there's not that help in place to get the care that you need from home where you don't have to do that. So do they send you have to collect testing kits yourself?
No. So I guess from what I understand, it's just the 14 days, which, by the way, is very suspicious to me in the first place, the way they put the hype up in the beginning. But I mean, I'm going to stay away from my conspiracy theories. But it really, it ends, that from what I understand, they don't even give you anything. They don't give you anything. They just test you to see if you have it, and that's it.
Yeah, and where do they do that? Do they do that in a center, or do they
any regular, they have, they made like drive-throughs. Certain places are drive-throughs, like the Walmart and things of that nature. So they don't even want you coming in the building, which I thought was actually really hilarious.
Yeah, that sounds scary. Here they do. You can do a home test. You can order your test from, again, it's from the NHS. National Health System, and then literally you get your pack in like a day or two. You do your little test. It's a swab test, and then you return it. And they actually have priority mailboxes for the kits.
Yeah, so but my son couldn't do the home care. They said it doesn't work for children, so I didn't have that option.
Wow.
Yeah. That's what they told me anyway. Wait, let me be very specific. Nobody told me anything. In fact, I had my boss on my line, like, just checking to see if you're okay and when you're coming back to work. I'm like,
of course. It's like that's just a quick hi, how are you? I'm only kind of checking in. So in general, and I don't know if everyone wants to comment in just so you get a feeling of what you've experienced as well, because we want to make it as interactive as possible for the rest of the live. But in general, how has it been? Because I don't mind my workplace, and I've been there a very long time, 10 years to be precise.
Wow.
However, there is not that duty of care. There's not that, how are you doing? I don't know if you've experienced the same thing being physically at work.
Yeah, there's no such thing as at work.
Wow.
I mean, the clientele for what I do is low. Prior to us merging with this company, we were working from home just fine. I don't know why that dynamic, they felt it needed to change. It just, obviously it hyped up the numbers, like, you know what I mean? It brought more people into one facility, which still to this day makes no sense.
It shouldn't be allowed.
And, and look at what they got, and they still don't seem to care. By the way,
Yeah.
Miss Rose
So
said not having to experience what we did.
yeah, so she says, I feel sorry for the kids mostly, not taking their exams, but they seem to be
Yeah,
more adaptable than us,
yeah,
not having
I
to
love it.
experience what we did. That's totally true. I love that because that's another very scary thing because you don't have that formality anymore with the
Yeah,
schooling system. The kids like now, I believe, I don't know if Miss Rebel Jewler wants to comment on that or
yeah,
Lee, that with the actual, when it comes to even the exams in general, that they've put the kids back another year again.
that's crazy.
Well, they've done that in the UK. They put them back because I believe that's the same with my youngest brother, or our
Wow,
youngest brother. They put like the children's like or his year below. They're saying, well, they're not taking their GCSEs, which is a lot. The age thing's different in the US and the UK, but when you're 16 years old, you take these big exams, and those are where you determine what college you go to.
wow.
So now there's talk that there will not be any GCSEs again, or whatever they call it, the GCEs. There will not be the big exams again this summer. It's like, this is just insane. So Miss Rebel Jules said they do a grade, but it's a teacher's grade. Oh, yeah, yeah.
And Leah said, I think this is a time that has really tested how we, yeah, teach each other. Yep.
Hmm.
The compassion we have for one another. Yep.
Yeah.
Responding to one another from a place of fear or love. Oh my God. Like,
Yeah.
seriously, I have like everybody
Hmm.
now that we've had the breakout in our job, you can really see the fear spike up in
Yes.
everybody. They're like, okay, but
Yeah.
what are you going to do if we have to keep coming in to make sure we're okay? And they don't have
Totally.
an answer, you
They
know?
don't, yeah.
It's
And
scary.
maybe this is another thing. Our actual, we have mayors in our kind of country. So each kind of county you live in, you have a
Mhm.
mayor.
Yep.
So our mayor of London, he says, quote unquote, he has to write letters to our prime minister. Now, can you imagine as an employer, that you have this company, even in the public or private,
Right.
that you have to, if the London mayor has to write and is waiting on answers from the prime minister,
Interesting. Wow.
can you imagine what it's going to be for the employers? They have to kind of think ahead, but they're
Wow.
human as well. They have to keep their company going because private. Of course,
Mm.
people where they can, people can work from home, but where they can't, they just have to keep things going. I don't understand why they've done what they've done at your workplace. That makes no sense because if you can work from home easily and you're not actually, there's no loss of income, then it doesn't make sense that
Right.
have you in an office in a building where there's like how many thousands of people.
A lot. Six
Yeah.
floors. It's six
Wow.
floors. Yes.
But
Yeah.
the thing is, there's not that kind of, if there's not that delegation when it comes to actual, the, I don't know, the certain hierarchy, then can you imagine certain employers are just guessing their way through?
Yeah. Yeah.
But
No, you know
yeah,
what was funny? Remember I was telling you, I when you brought it up was the only time that legal issues ever came to my mind when we had somebody from the
yeah.
higher office from Washington D.C. that reached out to us like really tiptoeing, by the way.
Wow.
Like is everybody okay? We heard what happened in the office. And I was like,
Wow.
it's a joke. Like, this is a freaking joke. They,
And and that is not their job. That's the best thing, because you can only, as in certain positions, there's only so many employees you can get to. That is what the managers are there for. They should be doing this thing where they're actually doing regular meets, not in person, over a Teams, over Zoom. They should put those systems in place where they're doing regular wellness meetings. And
yes.
even my boss, he had to, because we haven't had a team meeting since last year, the middle of last year.
Wow.
And if I didn't have people like yourself or Simone Lee, Miss Rebel Jewel, then, I'd be a head basket, because
Wow.
it's, it's all about the wellness side.
Yeah.
Now he's had to put a weekly meeting in place because he apologized. He said, "I'm really sorry. I've not actually been looking out." But I know he obviously, again, he's human. He has his family stuff, but check on your staff.
Right.
The wellness, the mindset is the most important thing, because sometimes like you do feel like you have to. I know if I weren't being preoccupied or keeping myself busy or keeping myself active, I do my workouts and whatnot and stuff like that, then
Right.
I don't know what mindset I would be in, and that's just pure honesty.
Yeah. No, it's actually funny that you say that because it's not, I mean, we have stuff to do and we get to see each other on a regular basis, but we've continued business as usual. Not,
Mm.
nobody's checking in on each other. Like, we're not implementing new systems and structures, which I think has been
Oh.
one of the things that have been way more clear than anything is that we lack that. Like, these
Mm.
old functional systems, they need to be revamped. Like, they need to be rethought out and
Mm.
redone
Oh,
because it's
wow.
not working. You know what I mean? You
Mm.
know, I don't think anybody can care too much for working from home or just having that ability. It's definitely giving some more freedom. But I think
Yeah.
the thought of it is nobody's thinking about it in a way as an advantage to the situation that we're in. That's how I'm seeing it.
Yeah.
And the people who are the people who are in these fields or have been doing it for a really long time, like tech companies and things of that, they're the only ones who are like, this is normal to us. We've been doing
Yeah.
this.
And they probably, I mean, no offense to them, they've probably been in like certain army and stuff like that. So they get trained in isolation and stuff. We don't.
We
It's
don't.
like, I
We
guess,
don't.
yeah, I guess
But we should be
sometimes,
taking, advice from them. Like, how do you deal with this?
yeah,
Instead, we're just seeing it as this is an issue. It's not working. But I just don't think
yeah,
that's set. It's not
yeah.
very closed minded, and it's really gotten us in a heap of shit. Excuse me.
That's okay. So, Miss Rebel Jules says it's true. Social media has helped me
Wow.
with. None of my sisters are in this country, so intake you all as my sisters. Appreciate all you ladies. Thank you, Miss Rebel Jewel. We appreciate
Love
you
you,
too.
Rebel.
And like I know Miss Rebel has been like someone that she just like always uplifts and stuff like that, and just in general, even now as we're doing our live, like just really like appreciate, like contributing, and just really appreciate you too. And
Yeah, you, Rebel. You know how I feel about you, Miss Rebel.
yeah, but
Should I
Yes.
take cards?
Yeah, definitely. So I'd say, in your opinion, what are, because I do have pros about the lockdown. I have more pros than cons.
Oh,
So what are your kind of pros? And then ladies as well, if you want to put that in the chat as well, please let us know, like, again, like what you're loving. Oh, Lee's put a heart as well. Lee's onto that side. Thank you, Lee. Yeah, so what are your kind of, in your opinion, what are the pros of this? Because I do have many, but start with yourself.
okay, I have to use my words.
Wisely.
Yes. um, I think freedom is the first thing that comes to mind.
Mm,
Despite the push and pull that the lockdown has brought, and this time in general, um,
mm,
I've excelled more financially than I've ever have in my entire life.
mhm,
I've had the freedom to do more, and um, I got to know myself a little bit better. You know, I thought I knew who I was before this, and not even in a
mm,
bad way or a good way. Just like, you know, we have all different sides of ourselves, and you really, I mean, I
mm,
really got to see what happens when you're up against the wall. You know, and how you react, and the importance to stop and think things through, to have a plan, to map things out, to have conversations with other people, not to just consume your own thoughts, make your own assumptions. I mean, I've grown tremendously in this time in a way that was only in my imagination, you know? And I've
mm,
extended my reach. Like, it's global now. You know, this is not just in
mhm.
Boston. And let me tell you, I like a good challenge business wise, career wise. I'm that person at my job. I'm the overachiever. Don't judge me, guys. I, I love what I do, right? So I'm
Yeah.
out in the community, getting to know who are our competition, who are we getting service from, and these types of things. So I was ready for the
Mm,
challenge to just be Boston bound, you know, and
wow.
that just showed me how little I thought of myself. And then the more I got into this, like I said, it expanded my entire thought process. Like, this is way bigger than Boston. Are you kidding? I'm talking to
Mhm.
Sophie in London.
Oh, I know. It's crazy, isn't it? And that's the beautiful thing. It's like we were always connected,
Yeah.
but it took the lockdown to make us realize, you know what? We've always had these things like the Zoom. We've
Yeah.
always had things like, well, I don't know about how long StreamYard's been about, but we've always had Instagram. We've always been able to do Instagram Live as a pair. We've
Yeah.
always had these functions in place. And the fact that the beauty of it is that now you do realize that, oh my gosh, you know what? I actually took advantage of the person that was living in another country. Like, you just don't, it's true. I think it's amazing that we're able to, even with our time, because I know I was speaking to Lee about this actually, how we can be, how connected we are, even though we're in a different country.
Yeah.
Like, me and you are side by side. The only difference is the time difference, but we're actually in the same space, the same time as each other, and we're able to connect. So I love that. I love the fact that this has really brought the realization that, you know what, it doesn't take ages to connect with someone.
Right.
It really doesn't. It really doesn't. And I think that's amazing that you say that, also that financially it's been
Mm,
a benefit. Mm.
yeah. I've saved so much money from not going out, not getting
Yeah,
on the train, the bus, Ubers where it's cold, the late
yeah,
lazy. it's
yeah.
been it's been I mean I hate to say it, but I wouldn't change it for the world. I think this change was more than
Mm,
needed. And
mhm.
I'm looking forward to the growth in this direction. There's more freedom in the education we
Yeah.
get to teach our children. We don't have to bog them down
Mm,
tired
mhm,
educational system that they have. Oh my gosh, I'm
mm.
over it. I'm over it. It does it no, it does the
It's
job. It did the
true.
job. I turned out okay. So I'm not again, I'm trying to use my words wisely. I'm not saying that there's anything wrong with it. I just think that we can do better. And we've been
Yeah.
closed off to better because we've been on this paradigm of this works because I have to do this. If this aligns with this system,
Mm,
you know what I mean?
mm.
And now it's
Yeah.
just open in the possible, like I can do way more
There's
than
more
that.
freedom. Like me, myself, and Simone's sister-in-law, she actually does homeschooling, and that's something where I was like, always like, I found it so cool and interesting, and I always thought, oh wow, like it's amazing she does that, and now even more, it makes sense. Everything makes more sense in that aspect that there's more freedom in what you can kind of put into your children's mindset,
Yeah.
their mindset they pick up from. I mean, again, I don't have children, but uh, from what I see is that they absorb things so easily. So it's so beneficial even now to be like, you know what, I can kind of change the narrative because the schooling system is quite regimented, or that certain things are off limits topic wise, and you know
What do you have?
yeah.
What pros do you
Me, one, the commute. Whoo, I do not miss commuting at all. Like I was literally, my normal day would be, especially in January. I'd love January. Don't get me wrong, and I thank God for every day. I always say to myself, "Oh, I love Mondays. I love every day." I've got to give that appreciation in general, and I always have tried be have that mindset. But I didn't miss commuting. I'm not gonna lie.
yeah.
I remember when it got to the point of that because I commute a solid 2 hours, and if I leave
Ooh,
later than a certain time, so 2 hours to work, 2 hours home. If I was lucky, there would be times in even the winter period will be 2.5 hours because
wow.
a certain because I have to connect to four train lines. So if
Oh
I
my
missed
God.
one, yeah, if I missed one, that was it for my journey. I'd have to like find another route. But loads of people were doing this, and then I remember it got to the point in just before the lockdown because I actually had a severe cold just before lockdown, so I actually went into lockdown a week before, maybe 2 weeks before the lockdown happened. So all I remember is that I was like, I'm not taking any risks. I'm gonna wear a mask because I started seeing people wearing them, the odd one or two.
Wow.
I remember,
Wow.
when you go onto in London, the tubes and stuff get so packed. The tube
Oh
trains
my God. Yeah.
packed, and people would look at you, and I'd be like with my mask, like, and it got to the point where I was actually using a scarf to cover my face, and I'd be like this, and people would actually look at me, and then now it's the norm. It is the actual norm. I think I was looking at the people who were wearing masks before me, thinking, what are they doing? But
Right.
it made sense. So it got to the point where I couldn't, I was like, I can't do this commute. because it was just like, it was very tiring. And then sometimes I'd have meetings afterwards for my business as well. And then I'd have to go to a different borough where I don't drive. I can drive, I rent a car on the odd occasion, but I'm not going to drive certain places I don't need to. So I was doing that as well. And then I literally in January of last year, I had like exhaustion. I was just burnt out. I was so tired. And I don't miss that. Actually, and again, the money side of it, I've saved a lot of money on travel. I've been able to focus doing my business as well. But that's been a bit difficult to do from home because before it'd be like I'd meet people in person. But again, it's getting used to that lifestyle and thinking, well, we're going to be here for a while. So, it's connecting with new people and doing my businesses. And also, Miss Rebel Jewel, she sent me like these beautiful charms and stuff. So I've been making little charm bracelets from home for the family and stuff like that. So that was fun. And then it's just like being able to also, again, I get to, me and my partner, it was kind of harder for us to have our day together. So now we do have more time together and I get to cook at home and it isn't as rushed. Nothing's as rushed, and I get to spend time on. I do believe in God, so for me, I get to spend time, saying things because it's like when I notice that I spend time reading, doing my reading, and watching my sermons, I notice like the change around in my life in general. And I was going to the gym as well, but I don't miss that because I've got OCD. I don't have to worry about anyone sweating on my treadmill. It's only me sweating on it. So the hygiene side of it, I like being at home because I'm OCD. I don't miss people sneezing in the air and coughing.
Oh my God.
So Miss Rebel Jewel says, so Lee says, for no more 4-hour commutes. Miss Rebel Jewel says, my hat goes off to those who homeschool. And she says, I'll soon show off my bracelet. I love it. Thank you, Sophie. But
wow, Leah, you was doing 4 hours?
Wild. That's a lot. That is a lot.
Divine consciousness. She says, yes, there's an abundance of benefits from the lockdown.
Yeah, definitely, Divine. I totally agree. And it's something where, again, like you were saying, Kheisha, like I definitely learned more about myself in general. And it's just been a blessing. It's been like, right, what will I choose? I've always chosen what I put in my mind, what I feed myself. But more so than now, because even myself and my partner, just as an example, we have in the UK we have terrestrial TV. I guess it's the same with you guys as well. So we use an aerial. But we were so bored. We don't watch TV massively. We're so bored of watching things on the news that weren't, that didn't feed us in a positive way. So we got rid of what we're like, right, let's get rid of the aerial. We don't need to, we saved money on our TV license because I said, well, if you don't use the BBC, you don't need a license. I'm like, brilliant, that saves us money. That saves us putting these because I was found that I didn't enjoy what I was watching on the main TV, the more live TV. So now we're all about educating ourselves. My partner, he's a very smart person, so he will be have our our discussions even about politics and things like that, and we will choose what we put in our mindset, we put in our minds, and it's so enjoyable. And then we watch our movies and stuff. So we watch a mixture of things like Hollywood, Nollywood, Bollywood. We watch a mixture of things because that's what we want to put in our mindset. And, that's been another thing that we've not been able to do as much that like together, but that we've been able to do. And then just actually going on walks. I'll go on walks. And even today it was a sunny day. It was very cold, but it was nice. And then it's like, oh, okay, I'm gonna get a bit of fresh air, put my mask on. The mask helps with a cold. So it's nice just to do those things and notice and look up at the sky and think, oh wow, you know what? The air actually looks cleaner. The sky looks cleaner because there's not those emissions, there's not as many flights, and you just take in everything around you.
Yes. They actually said that the first, like when this first happened back in March last year, I don't know if it was an article or if it was an actual announcement on the news that the pollution in the air had went down like 80% or something like that. It was crazy.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's a lot. That's a lot.
Yeah.
And that's good for our bodies as well.
Yeah.
That's so good for our health in general. And I'm loving the comments that everyone's putting in. So let me go back. So Divine says, I have really enjoyed connecting with all of you lovely ladies and so many kind spirits worldwide. Oh, I love that. Because it's like, again, it's like going back to, we can connect. We're only like a Wi-Fi password away. And Miss Verbal Jules says, it's been below zero for so long. It has been. It's very true. And Lee says, yes, love that, Sophie. Choose what we put in our minds, what we to watch, and it is so important. And then especially if you have children, they're watching what we're watching, so why not watch what you watch?
Right.
Because they do get influenced by us fast.
Yes. And
yeah.
The teacher will tell you that it starts at home. And that's one of the things that my sisters as teachers would get so upset with the parents. Like, you need to be more engaged with your child's education. I bet they got a wake up call this time around. You can't really avoid crazy.
Yeah.
But again, I think on the more upswing to that is you do get to choose now. What do you want your child to be? Who do you want them to emulate? And I have a whole curriculum built out for my son.
Wow, I love that. That's proper planning ahead. I think it's so important that we realize a generational planning.
Oh God.
Yeah, so let's go back up. So Miss Rebel Drew says, yes, and the birds sound louder. They are even getting up earlier. You know what? I've been hearing them at night. I'm like, why are they chirping at midnight? What's going on with these birds? Damn. And in replacement of me and Miss Rebel Drew always talk about foxes. So I've had more birds than foxes. I don't know if you guys have, is it raccoons where you are?
Yeah, we do. We have raccoons.
I love raccoons. They're cute. So where she's, I know me and my niece were talking about it. She's like, I hate raccoons. And I'm like, I love them. So let's swap. But she likes foxes and I like raccoons. So I was like, let's swap.
I think they're very pretty.
What? No, no. But you know what? They just stare at you. They always come in pairs. Like they just look at you, and it's like they own the streets now. The UK. It's yeah. Yeah, I'm sure they're going to be named like their little own gang names, but they are rife.
Like the chickens. The chickens
Yeah,
run wild around here. They
chickens.
think they
Wow.
own. Are they chickens or turkeys? Those
What?
big. We have big turkeys out here. They run these streets out here,
Do
and they
they?
have legal laws. If you keep like
Oh, is that what
let-
Thanksgiving meat is for? Because you have to put respect on the turkey. Oh, wow. Oh, a turkey running around. No, the only time when we've seen it running around is in the oven at Christmas. Yeah, we don't see no turkeys running around. We see pigeons. Wood pigeons, green pigeons, grey pigeons, but not turkeys. If I saw turkeys and chickens, I'd be like, come home, you're going in the oven or you're going in the pan. Just put a bit of
like you will get arrested for messing with the turkeys. They got more laws for the turkeys than they do for the humans.
Oh, that's like that is literally like the foxes. They literally do know that they can rule. I won't say rule the roost. That's more you guys, but they think they can rule the streets now. You cannot because they got rid of fox hunting. I know the ladies are. Miss Rebel Jewel and Divine are making me laugh. So Miss Rebel Jewel says Sophie versus the foxes. The foxes attacking the Sophie. They're scary. They are very scary. Yeah, so that's interesting. I bet they don't. They for them, there's no laws for lockdown for them. They just do what they. Oh, so Divine says swans. Oh, I love swans. Yeah, swans are beautiful.
Yeah, they are.
Yes, swans are absolutely beautiful. So I'd say, is there anything else that any of you ladies would like us to like kind of quickly touch upon?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh yes, swans are protected, definitely.
Really?
They're beautiful. They're so beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think the only thing I would say is the con to this is the endless Zoom meetings, and you have to be more vigilant. I think I talked about this a lot just because I learned so much. Having a budget is like having a plan for everything.
Yeah.
The more I got in tune with my budget, the more it really allowed me to see where I can grow, where I need to grow. And I feel like that's so off the like it might seem like it has absolutely nothing to do with what we're talking about.
No, it is.
It was like
Yeah.
my foundation to knowing how my business needs to grow, how I need to grow, what I need to learn, what I can ignore because it doesn't relate to me, or just like so many different things. Even now, to where I'm like, did you say you quit your job, Sophie?
Me? No. Oh,
Oh,
wow.
oh.
No, definitely not. Otherwise, I would have nowhere to live.
Oh my goodness.
That rent's got to be paid. No, definitely. I've been in my job for 10 years and yeah.
I think now with everything going on, I've strongly considered leaving, and my budget has really helped me know. So I just take that number on what I'm getting, so I know, okay, what other avenues can I make this money? Is it going to be a whole nother job, or is it a whole bunch of side hustles?
Wow.
Yeah. Wow. And that was a con for me at first because I didn't realize that the traction of it, When you think of a budget, you're just like, okay, but it's a budget. You know?
Yeah, that you know what? It's funny you say that because it's like for us, most of us from tomorrow to the end of the month. So Lisa, she has to head out. Thank you so much,
Oh,
Lee.
thank
And I think
you for
I guess we
coming.
go finish in the next few minutes. But
Yes.
I'd say Miss Rebel Jewel says any tips for mental health. So I'd say, do you want to say that? Start with Kheisha on that
Yeah,
and
I
then
would.
just wrap
Uh,
up shortly.
that goes with self care for me, right?
Yeah.
I can't stress enough the importance of doing things that you like to do in your downtime. What really makes you happy? I heard a lot of
Mm-hmm.
people say that music has been uplifting their spirits during these times. Let me tell you something. I hear everybody saying they can't go out to pubs and dancing. First of all, I have wooden floors in my house, so anytime I want to dance, I put my socks
Same.
on, I get my playlist together, and I be slipping and sliding and dancing all over this place.
Ooh. Oh, wow.
Yep. And I try
That's
to have
amazing.
my casual social drink every now and again. It's not. I'm not a drinker. It's. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't get much out of it, but sometimes it's
Mm.
nice. I kid you not, it's probably once in a blue moon, but
Yeah.
sometimes it's nice socializing with the drink in your hand. I don't know what that is,
Mm.
but
I don't. Miss Rebel Jewel says, thanks for your time, ladies. Really appreciate you and thank you for all your info. Thank you so much. And Divine says about yes, is singing and playing the ukulele for me. Ooh, I just
Ooh,
got a karaoke machine.
nice.
You know what? You know what, Divine? I got my disco lights here. so I love that because I don't drink alcohol, and not drinking alcohol has been I've not been drinking alcohol for maybe 5 years. It's been the best feeling in the world, and Simone's always been like, so you know what,
Don't do it.
don't drink that alcohol anymore, because I used to have a drinking mentor. Long story, he's no
Oh,
longer
okay.
with us, but the best thing has been like I haven't touched alcohol in a good few years because of that. And I'd say just focusing on even drinking water every day. That is one of my mental, my wellness thing, because I get excited. Oh yeah, put your waters up. Yeah, so that's been one thing that has really, you know, Miss Rebel Juice's party at Divines. so even the health thing, I always say, even now after we finish our live, I'm gonna go on the treadmill because
Yeah.
that's something that pushes me, and I always play. I do love Beyonce, so I always put her music on because I find it the easiest to work out to. And yeah, I just think so Divine says water is life, great for mental, physical, and spiritual health. Definitely. Definitely.
Yeah.
And a Miss Rebel Jewel says, same with the alcohol. I love alcohol, so avoid it.
Avoid it.
I like that. I like that. I can definitely say I used to be like, oh, I can't go without my alcohol. But now I feel
Yeah.
10 times better without it. So, and then it's just creating that not forgetting to create that happiness for yourself as well.
Yes.
Sometimes we do rely on others to create, to make us feel validated or to make us feel that happiness, but the happiness starts within us firstly, that self-love. So it's like that's when it, you know, because I know even with myself and my partner at home, we have to have that dynamic at home. We have to love ourselves as well, and that's what we both practice. And then we have so much more conversations because it's like there's so much more we can talk about and stuff.
Yeah.
Self-love, self-care is so important. So that's what I'd say on the mental health side. and then just making sure you're pampering yourself. Like I take, even when I do my wash days, my hair wash days, I'll give myself that Sunday, the Sunday night, having, and Divine says, yes, I definitely escape by napping. Oh, I love a nap.
We
Love napping.
Naps
Definitely. Definitely enjoy the nap, definitely. And Miss Rebel Juice says, so true, so self-love. Very true, very true. So important, because it's like at the end of the day, you can, like, feel down if you're not doing like, if you're not going out your way to put those things in practice for yourself. Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah.
That's what I wanted to talk to Leah about. I hope she responds back. I know she's gone
Yeah,
now.
I bet she will. Oh my God, I'd love to see you ladies go live. That's something. Yeah.
What about the people
Mm-hmm.
who like being outgoing? This isn't easy for the people who actually
No.
like being outside,
Yeah, I mean, I know people that do. That's a tough one, because they can go on walks, but there's still a lot of people working. I know my mum, she personally loves to be up and about, but she actually goes into work as well. So she works for the courts.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so, but again, there's not those rules in place, you know, they're not putting those kind of social distancing at all, and not
Wow.
they should be, not. So, but I know she does enjoy being up and about.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
kind
I heard a
of
lot of
a
people.
double-edged sword.
Yeah.
Mm. Yeah, so yeah, so uh I know the ladies are saying we need to do a Zoom, definitely.
Oh my
And then
gosh.
we
That would be
do us like, or even on here, I can invite up to 10 people on here. So even before like the next month, then we can do like a StreamYard together, and then we'll
Oh
all be
yeah.
on the screens together. So if you ladies
Oh,
are
we can do
interested
the
in
one
that,
for
yeah,
the month of
then
October, right?
yeah, definitely.
What do we say?
So
15th?
I think so. What day is it today? I did it yesterday, right? The 24th. 24th. So, oh, you mean R1, our hair.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's on the 15th. Yeah, the 15th. I'm going to check anyway. I'm going to check to be sure. But yeah, I think it's on the 15th.
Yeah, you guys
Yeah.
can join us and let's.
Yeah, because we can have 10 of us in one, like, that would be amazing. Oh, and Divine says she's bringing back Fitness Friday, so I can't wait to see that. Yeah, oh, I love, what I do love, I've been obsessed with doing I can't remember what they're called, but I just found them because I normally do Zumba as well as my treadmill. And then I found a company called on YouTube, can't remember what they're called now, but I love doing workouts online. So Divine, definitely up for that. Definitely up. So yeah, so I guess is that kind of everything that you think we covered? And
Yeah, this was fun. It was good
it
to
has
get stuff off the chest.
been, yeah, it really has been so much fun, and I love, it's so nice to have those again, it's like open discussion.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
Mm. Hmm. Yeah. Oh, so Divine says she loves Zumba. Oh, perfect, that sounds good.
Because you get
So
the
yeah. So I think we got less than a minute left, so shall we wrap our session up? And
yeah.
yeah, and then I guess Kheisha, would you like to? kind
I
of, how'd you say, took us out.
I really appreciate this, Sophie. I love you. I know
I
you
love you
know I
too.
love you. I think it's been a very interesting journey, and I thought it felt more real to talk about it and include everybody else in the conversation. It was really interesting to hear from Leah in Albuquerque. I wish we could have got more, but it is what it is.
Mm.
There's been its good and its bad, but for the most part, I thank everybody so much for your time. I love and appreciate you all, and I hope you enjoyed the live.
Yeah, definitely, definitely. Thank you so much, lady. And there's always, I mean, we can always do a surviving lockdown again, like with all of us on, and that would be phenomenal.
Yeah, it would. Yeah, it would.
Yeah, and Keisha, I just want to say thank you so much. Like, you're so even watching your videos, like you're so therapeutic. It's like everything. I just feel like so relaxed, and I take so much from you, and I really appreciate everything that you do as well. You're just always uplifting, and I love you're always like in the mornings. You're like so like full of like positivity and yeah, just really appreciate it.
Yes. Yes. Thank you.
So I really loved today and thank you ladies so much and I guess we're gonna be out but until next time and we'll definitely do another one soon
Yes.
as well. I'll definitely do another one soon. And thank you all so much for tuning in.
Yes. Thank you.
Take care, ladies.
Bye.
Night, night. Bye.
Bye.